All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon, later afternoon now. We've got some more linebackers to look at here. We're now down into day 3, which, given the fact that Seahawks don't necessarily need another linebacker, maybe this is the range where the team would more likely try to find one. And there are some interesting names down here as well. So round 4 is going to be the subject of our discussions in this video. Got a handful of guys to get through here. Let's go ahead and get into it. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them in a moment. We're going to start with an Alabama Crimson Tide linebacker here, Deontae Lawson, 23 when the season starts. He's got lean size. He's very lean. He's got height, so he does have the frame to add weight, which is maybe important, but he is light, 226. In the modern day, not so bad, but still pretty light. Pretty long arms, though, so at least he's got that. That's actually kind of nice. Some big boards put him in the third. The Draft Network has him in the early second. They love him. They are enamored with Lawson, but the aggregate has him in the fourth round, early fourth. Coming off a pretty good year, almost 90 tackles. The year before that, 76. Makes a handful of plays behind the line of scrimmage here and there, not a lot. PFF grades have been good, not quite stellar, so he's not one of the elite Alabama linebacker prospects that we have seen, but he is a good one. He's a very good athlete. He did not do anything at the combine, but he is a very good athlete. He is someone that can be flexible across the mic, the will, the 3-4, the 4-3. Should be able to work in multiple schemes, multiple positions. He was one of the leaders for the Crimson Tide defense. He was one of their locker room guys. He can work off blockers pretty well. He can work his way through blockers. And his read and react skills are good. So he's actually a good all-around linebacker in most areas, I feel like. He doesn't always execute on his block shedding. Sometimes he does get stuck in a way that he shouldn't. He should be able to shed blockers more routinely than he does, so there is a little bit of inconsistency there. Sometimes he doesn't make the tackle at the tackle point. He can just kind of not be able to make that final move to break down, and he misses tackles because of it. He doesn't really hit hard, so he doesn't really stall momentum. He does give up extra yak because of that. He is undersized, and he gets out-muscled sometimes, and there's not a ton he can do about that unless he wants to add weight. He's already missed significant playing time in his career to injuries as well, so there are injury concerns with Lawson. So I like him. I've got a little bit of an attachment to him, but I didn't think he was going to be this lean, and adding weight means you hurt your athleticism. So I'm not going to go too far over the top here. Fourth rounder does hit right. I kind of like him. The issue is just how light in the pants he is and what he would have to give up if he wants to do something about that. Okay, Keyshaun Elliott's our next guy here, Arizona State, 22. Another kind of smaller guy, 231. Short arms too, so you do have some physical limitations here, but he did jump very well at the combine. His vert and broad were both very impressive. Big board PFF really likes him. They have him in the third, but the aggregate has him in the fourth. The ESPN has him in the seventh. They do not like him very much. Had a nice year last year, almost 100 tackles, 14 for loss, 7 sacks, so a lot of plays made in the backfield, but overall the play was just okay. These last 2 years, the PFF grade was just decent. So we do see some immediate holes here with Keyshaun Elliott, even if there is some other stuff to like as well. Do you like sports? If you do, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. I've had a great time using Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing so easy and fun, and it even makes watching the games way more exciting. And with the cool social feeds feature, you can share lineups with your friends and even follow partners to tail or fade their picks. Obviously, we're in the NFL offseason right now, but we've got basketball, baseball, hockey, all kinds of other stuff, so don't be afraid to test things out in whatever sport clicks with you. You can even pick multiple sports in the same lineup and sweat everything at once. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So, download Prize Picks, America's #1 sports app. And don't forget, Code HMA, that is HMA, gives you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. So the first thing that stands out with Elliott is all the plays he makes behind the line of scrimmage. So he's quick shooting gaps, getting into the backfield, making reads. Some legitimately really cool stuff there. He's a clean tackler. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He knows how to wrap up. So the fundamentals of tackling are there. And the explosion he showcased at the combine does kind of get your attention. But other than that, I couldn't really see much to get into with Keyshaun Elliott. He was one of the guys that I don't get. And look, he's a fourth rounder on the big board. It's not like anybody gets him that much, but he doesn't look that fast on the football field. He doesn't look like the great athlete that he was on Indianapolis or in Indianapolis. And the movement skills, like the ability to like change direction and stuff, is not. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to keep up at the next level. His linebacker instincts are poor. He doesn't have a great feel for where the play's going. He doesn't really understand how to just kind of intuitively understand where to go. He's smaller than they expected from the combine. Like you look at his measurements, he's small. He was not expected to be that small, I don't think. He just doesn't cover a lot of ground. He gets stuck on blockers. So I'm not into this. I think this is a special teamer. I don't think this will ever be a starter or maybe even not even a good backup. I don't see a lot here. I think that if he had run a 40, there's a reason why he didn't run the 40. I think it's because he would have been pretty slow. So I can't get excited until like the 6th round, to be perfectly honest. Just not really feeling this one. Kaleb Elarms-Orr, interesting name here, interesting player as well. Kaleb Elarms-Orr of TCU. He is 23 years old when the season starts. He is another slightly smaller guy, although not that small. Like 235 is fine. Arms a little bit short, 9-inch hands. Very athletic. That's the thing. He was one of the big combine winners. 4.47, 40-inch vert, nice broad. The 10-yard split could have been better, I guess, but overall, this is a very good athlete, and that got people's attention, I would say. Big boards, some 5th round, but the aggregate actually pushed him up into the 4th. So the smaller big boards like him more than the big boards. Coming off a year with 130 tackles, 11 for loss, 4 sacks. So good playmaker. 84.4 PFF grade. So there is a lot to get into here with Elarms-Orr. He had a good season. He's a good player. The combine performance was kind of his claim to fame. Before that, he was not really that big of a name. He's really good at breaking down to tackle well. He's really good at the tackle point. He can cover a lot of ground as well because he's got that speed and he's got the explosiveness, so he can cover ground quickly. He's also a very good blitzer. I know he doesn't have a ton of sacks on his ledger, but he does have a few, and he is a good blitzer overall, I think. He's not really that undersized, even though he is a great athlete. Like, he's not one of these 220, 225 guys. He is a little bit bigger than that. And the 2025 stats do pop out. 11 tackles for loss for off-ball linebackers, getting the job done for sure. So there's a lot to like here with Elarms-Orr on that front. And the concerns are mostly just him as a cerebral football player. He has not yet developed cerebrally. He doesn't have great linebacker feel. So he does have some work to do, and he does need to make some improvements in that area. And that's going to really hold him back here. So he's got to learn. And even though he is a great athlete, he didn't always look like he was a great athlete on the football field in that manner. So there's probably some stuff he has to do to fully unlock his potential there. He doesn't have great feel for coverage as well. He's really not going to be a very good cover player despite his movement skills. I feel like he's going to have to learn, and he can. I don't think this is something that's impossible to overcome. He doesn't take good angles on runs. So really, it's just a lot of like the finer points and the little details you have to do on a football field. He's just going to need a lot of improvements in these areas. But the base that you're working with here, athletically, is great. The right coach is going to get a lot of fun work here. But he needs to find that coach. He needs to invest himself into learning how to play football the proper way, especially at the next level. But I think he's got a shot. And that's more than I can say for a lot of guys in this draft, this very forgettable draft. So I go early 4th round, and I'm going to try to figure it out. I wouldn't even hate him at the back end of the 3rd, because at least you have upside here, and there isn't a ton of upside in this draft. All right, I believe one more guy for this video. This is another really interesting one. Harold Perkins Jr. This guy has, at various points of his career, been considered a borderline blue chipper. Obviously, he's not now, and he shouldn't be, but Harold Perkins, LSU, there's a lot to be intrigued by here. 21 when the season starts, so still very young. He's pretty small. 6'1", 223 pounds, so very, very, very shrunken. Short arms, baby hands. He's got, I think, the smallest hands in this draft for any position except maybe kicker or punter. He's got very small hands, so take that as you will. Big boards. Walter Football loves him. They have him in the 2nd. I don't know what's going on there, but he's a 4th round pick on the aggregate. That's where he is on a couple of these big boards. 4th round. PFF has him down in like the 7th, so they really don't like him very much. The stats are a little bit weird. He doesn't have any overwhelmingly great years. He's coming off a year where he was just kind of barely treading water. 4 sacks, 8 for loss, 3 interceptions. The interceptions are nice, but overall, he was not a great player. The year before that, 2024, he barely played. He got hurt. 2023, he was actually a little bit better, but still not like stand out in the way that you might be looking for. The thing to remember is that the 2023 season, he was a kid. So we are talking about somebody with immense potential here, even if they're not necessarily fully realized. But the thing with Harold Perkins Jr. is that he is a hybrid potentially. He can play off ball, he can play edge. So he might end up as one of those guys that you can put all over in your defense and they will find a way to be good. And that's kind of what makes this appealing. That's kind of what makes this work. Harold Perkins Jr., the hybrid. He is a good athlete. I know he didn't do anything at the combine, but he's a good athlete. He's got explosion. He's got acceleration. He's got quickness. He's got a high rate of big plays made. He's a big play machine. A lot of his tackles are in the backfield. He's already proven himself as a special teams demon earlier in his career, so if you need to get him there early, he can do that. He's also really good in coverage, especially for what he is. Like, for a hybrid linebacker, the fact that he's got 4 picks in the last couple years he's played is really, really good. He also knows how to shut off blockers using force, so he can kind of overcome his shorter arms by just unloading into the chest of blockers. Now, there's no getting around how small he is. He is so small, it's kind of hard to really believe this is going to work. Maybe he can add a little bit of weight, but what is he giving up if he does that? And even if he adds weight, he's going to be undersized for off-ball, and he's going to be way undersized for edge. He doesn't have off-ball instincts yet either. He's not really an off-ball. He doesn't have a feel for the game. He had a major 2024 injury that has kind of stunted his growth, so he's not where he should be yet. He's not a good tackler, and the short arms are not going to make it easy for him to get better. He doesn't shed if he doesn't land with pop, so he can't really stack and shed a blocker. He also has some bad habits in coverage, even though he is overall a really good cover player. There are some things that allow him to get beat. Sometimes he gets a little too greedy. But this one's tough. This is a really tough evaluation overall. There's a lot to like and a lot to not like. The size, man. The size. I don't know how this works. He's so much smaller than even I thought he was. So I go early 5th. I think he'll mostly be a special teams player. I can't go further than that. I go early 5th. I think that's the best I can do. All right. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think about this group. And tomorrow we will be wrapping up linebacker. Going to look at a couple more guys. And we will be taking it home from there. All right. Everyone have a great rest of your evening. Might be on Twitch later, might not. Go Hawks.